Carrie Hepburn here from Compass PD, and I am really looking forward to today's conversation. We have Dr. Bridgett Niedringhaus joining us. Hello, Bridget.
Hi, Carrie. Great to see you on this beautiful Midwest Tuesday.
Isn't
Gorgeous.
it though? Yes. It's such a nice reminder of what's to come. It's just like,
Yes.
oh, we're so close to this being every day. It's really exciting. Do you
Yes.
have anything right now that's just fun happening in your life? Anything you want to share with our listeners?
Sure. I am planning Easter for my family,
Oh,
and I have extended family coming from Tennessee and from Texas, and they'll all come stay at my house, and we'll all gather on the day before Easter on Saturday. And the fun thing about all of this is, of course, the together time, but we have so many new babies in our family.
mm,
We have 6 kids that are under 4. And
wow.
so, yeah, so it just makes it fun. And we haven't all been together since then. And
Mm,
since all these littles have come. And so, I'm really
right.
looking forward to seeing the next generation get together.
Oh, that's so much fun. I
Yeah.
love babies and puppies bring joy, you
I
know?
am praying for spring weather like we have today on that
Yes.
Saturday, the 30th, so that we can be inside and outside and just, having a great time.
Oh, I think that sounds wonderful. That
Yeah.
sounds wonderful. We are heading to Portland, Oregon. Our son and his wife live out there, so we're spending Easter with them in Portland. And I'm hoping we might get some sun. You know, it's tough out there to get sun in Portland, so we're hopeful for some sun and just an enjoyable time with our family. So I'm really looking forward to that too. Hard to
Great.
believe we're just a couple weeks away from the
I
end of
know.
March.
I know. It's unbelievable. It seems so
It
early this year.
it really does. So as we think about we're just a couple of weeks away from the end of March. Um, and if you're thinking about administrators at this time of year, they have a lot happening. What would be some things that you would recommend administrators around this time have on their radars?
Sure. Well, on your radar at this time of year, you're wrapping up all that third quarter data and kind of taking a look at that and making some fourth quarter plans using that data. Um, for some, that might mean deciding about where our students are in their learning progression and if they are ready to go on to the next level or not. And we know that those can be some difficult conversations for teachers and staff and parents. So we have that on our radar, that fourth and third quarter, that third quarter data going into fourth quarter.
Mhm.
Some big decisions that need to be made in fourth quarter. We know that the 23-24 budget is getting ready to wrap up. And I remember this
Yes.
time of year, like, I would say, okay, we have this much left that we haven't spent, or costs came in lower than we thought. And so I might say to a reading teacher or a literacy coach or grade level chair or something, you can have this X amount of money. Or
Mhm.
sometimes it would be just, let's buy some books. We need some more sets of books for kids, things like that. But I had a great administrative assistant that would always
Mhm.
keep her eye on that and keep her eye on, she knew when I wanted to know and
Mhm.
how close we could get to, spending that building budget. And then there's the 24-25 budget that by this time, I'm going to guess your district has already had some kind
Yeah.
of a meeting to make sure they have it. And then you're really looking at how to allocate those funds at your building level from your
Mhm.
district. But the big one I'd like to talk about, the big thing on our radar right now, Carrie, is staffing.
Mhm.
And so that would include retirements. That would include people that are resigning. That would be maybe people that need to be placed in a different location for whatever reason. Could be that they got certified in another area and so they're needed somewhere else. Or that can just mean hiring new teachers. So there's
Mhm.
a lot to go in with staffing. And to be honest with you, staffing is like my passion.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. You do a really great job of, helping people find the right fit for them and supporting them through that. And it was always really fun to be on committees with you when we were looking for new teachers and new staff and being part of that thinking and that process. I think new new energy can be brought into a building and new
Yes,
ideas and new thinking.
yes,
It can be a really powerful, exciting time.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say, conversely, not everybody likes that change. And
Mhm,
so really when I talk about staffing and how much I love it, it's because I had to really become proficient in how to roll out that staffing process. Sometimes staffing meant moving a teacher from one grade level to the next, or it meant that someone was going to be displaced because our enrollment was declining. I think the message I really want to throw out there to administrators and really that some of those predictable problems that they can come up to with staffing is all about the conversations and the relationships around staffing. We can talk about how fun and exciting it is to staff a building, and it is. Um, However, I'm not in the teacher position. I'm in the administrator position. And I can tell you that for a lot of teachers, staffing can be a really big time of anxiety. We
mhm,
can bring on a lot of nervousness, especially if you have openings that are, people are going to retire or resign. They're constantly questioning, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna move somebody there? Are we gonna hire for that position? So that can cause a lot of angst for our
mhm,
teachers, and so I
mhm,
really wanna talk about that with the staffing process today as being something that is really that predictable problem with staffing.
mm,
One thing that I think that we have to keep in mind, as a predictable problem is that you are not gonna make everyone happy.
mhm,
And so I can think of times where I've sat down with even my own children and had that conversation. And those are easy words to roll off your tongue.
mhm.
And yet, when you get behind the true meaning of them, it can cause conflict. And so you have to really be a master at how are you going to deal with any conflict that may come as a result. Um, you want to make those sound decisions. So I love some things that like Todd Whitaker says in his book about what great principals do differently. And he talks about the main variable being the teacher, and that it is our job as principals to hire the best. And
Mhm.
so, what does that mean? And so, he goes on later to talk about programs are not the solution, people are the
Yes.
solution. And so, do I want to hire the teacher that can tell me every step in a program? Or do I want to hire the teacher that displays empathy and care towards a student who may be going through a traumatic situation?
Mhm,
Or do I want to hire the teacher that is enthusiastic about learning?
mhm.
Or do I want to hire the teacher that really is just going to be the person who helps make us better? And then I can teach that person whatever programs or whatever content need to be taught. And so
Yes.
for me, I'm always focused on the person. Um, Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great, talks about by hiring the best, you are investing. What kind of an investment are you interested in making for your building? You don't want to hire the friend of the friend of the friend, or necessarily the superintendent's niece, or, those kind of connection pieces. You want to hire the person that's going to be the best for that position, and that's going to make you as an organization better, because
Mhm.
that's what we should all be striving for, is to do better than we did the day before.
Yes.
We really want to keep that in mind when you are talking about staffing. You may have times where you decide as the administrator that you might move someone from one grade level to the next. And they may be a very good teacher in that grade level, but you really can see the benefit that they can bring to that other team. Make no bones about it. It's not, they're not gonna bring their pom-poms and cheer when you tell them they're moving. Some people will just sit back and take in the information and maybe analyze a little bit and come back to you in a couple of days. Others will have immediate questions, and they need to know, what's going on in that grade level, or what kind of content will I be teaching? Or they have a million and one questions, and that's okay. And some are going to be downright angry. As a leader, it is your job to be ready for whoever comes through those doors when you're ready to talk to them. And please don't make the mistake of sending them an email or a text that you're moving them to another grade level.
Right.
That to me is horrendous. That is cowardly.
Mhm.
That there is no sense in doing that. I get it. It's third, end of third, beginning of fourth quarter.
Right.
Time is precious to all of us. And so you're going to invest in this person that you're getting ready to talk to. By doing that, they're going to at least appreciate the fact that you took the time to talk to them.
Yes.
They may decide to bring a representative or another colleague with them. You can say, oh no, this is about you. Or you can just say, okay, because what do you have to hide? You have
Right.
nothing to hide. You're making a move for your building. So there's
Yep.
one kind of staffing predictable problem that could arise. Another thing that could arise is, like you said, putting together teams to hire new staff members. You want to be very careful about who represents your school on those teams.
Mhm.
Um, and you want a good variety of opinions, strengths. I don't want to only ask like-minded people to be on my team. So if I, Dr. Bridgett Niedringhaus, am creating a team for interviewing, I'm going to make sure I have people on there that are not like-minded.
Mhm.
And that's a good thing. Because as an administrator, it makes me think, but as a group, it brings a different perspective that may not be as well represented. And so you need to make sure that you are bringing together good teachers, but you're not always like-minded.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other thing you want to do when you're creating that team is make sure that the message is you are here to interview candidates and make recommendations. However, the final recommendation is that of the building principal. The
Yes.
building principal, once the interviews are done, is still calling references, still talking to people that maybe have worked with this person in the past or know this person, or looking at some records or some interview documents that were submitted. The building principal still has all that responsibility to do before even contacting human resources, or in some cases, the building principal makes their own call and offers the position to the candidate. So if you're actually really hiring, there's that. The third thing I want to talk about is
Yes.
what happens if somebody is put on the parking lot or is being moved
Oh,
from your building because of whatever reason. One reason could be a reduction in attendance. One reason could be that they're needed somewhere else or that they're not the right fit for your building. I want to go back to talking to you about don't send those emails, don't send
Yep.
them a text. You talk to them face to face. You want to make sure that you're handling your business with the utmost respect for the person that you're working with. You want to make sure that that person feels like they weren't duped by you,
Mhm.
but that you actually took the time to explain to them what's going on and that you left time for them to ask questions because the last thing we do, I'll tell you, sometimes as an administrator, it's like, okay, I gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. And
Yes.
then, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And we kind of
Right.
shoo them out the door instead of saying, I want you to come up with your top 3 questions right now. Or, um, I know you have questions. Or at the beginning of the conversation, say, we're getting ready to talk about something. I'm going to give you a piece of paper and a utensil to write with so that if you come up with questions as we're talking, you can jot them down real quick. But do the right thing and let them have that time.
Yes.
And there are gonna be some times that maybe you do need to come to a stopping point and say, "I think that for today, we need to end this part of the conversation, and then let's give it a couple days, and if we need to pick up the conversation again, we can absolutely do that, but you need some processing time before you continue on," because some people really do. They just wanna, maybe
Yes.
argue why they're being moved or question why they're being moved, and honestly, I don't always have all the answers as the building administrator. So for
Right.
both of us, it's helpful to just say, "At this time, we're gonna end this part of the conversation, and we can come back later."
So thoughtful. What I'm hearing in all of this time is so emotional. There's so much emotion that happens during this time. And what I'm hearing from you again and again is in each of these situations regarding staffing, which is filled with emotion, is treating those that are your people that you serve, your teachers and your staff with dignity and respect. I heard
Absolutely.
that again and again, like, um, face-to-face time, no texts, no emails, which I think anymore we have to state that. We have to be really explicit about that. Um, I heard give them the time, let them ask questions, be ready for the emotion that may or may not happen because it is an emotional time and it does feel personal. Whether it is or not, it feels like that when you're on that end. I was thinking a little bit as you were talking about how to have these face-to-face conversations and how when I have those kinds of conversations, I have like little notes around just reminding me to breathe, reminding me of the person like that's in front of me, the outcomes, like why we have to have this conversation, what I hope and how I hope to make them feel, even when it's hard. I try to have those little reminders because I will find myself veering off topic or trying to fix the situation. And sometimes it's not that it's a situation that has to be fixed, but when the emotion comes in, you want to fix it or get rid of the emotion. And so
Sure.
those are some little things that I have to do when I'm doing that. Now, not having been an administrator, what were some things that like little tricks that you would have for you to go into those conversations?
Good. So one of the first tips I have for you is think
Oh,
about who
we're
this
just
person.
moving through. I'm sorry. We're just like moving through. It's great. Okay.
One of the
I'm
first
sorry.
tips I have is think about the person.
Yeah.
And I want you really think about their strengths. What do they bring? Um, this can be a difficult task sometimes. And other times, it's the easiest thing you can do.
Mhm.
But I challenge you to do it and think about things that they bring to your school, to their team. Maybe it might just be some personal qualities that they demonstrate. I want to make sure that when I am ready to talk to that person, that I'm ready to talk to them about what I appreciate about them, what I've observed about them, some things that I
Mhm.
know about them, and how I really need them to be prepared to get to that next level.
Mhm.
And so even your best teacher can come in and really be unhappy that you're moving them. And in your heart, you know that this is going to end up being a great thing for this person, but
Mhm.
they cannot see it at that time. So talk to them about the qualities that they bring. Talk to them about how, your teaching is so strong. You are very matter of fact with students. You are very matter of fact with parents. I love how a parent can count on you calling them back within a certain amount of time, responding to them. Maybe what I'm not saying is you're too direct for kindergarten. I might be
Right.
saying those things in the back of my head, but really I'm pointing out qualities about why I'm going to move you to fourth grade instead of
Right.
leaving in kindergarten. And so
Right.
how those qualities that you possess are really well matched for that age student and what
Yes.
they can bring to the table for the students of that grade or that age. So, making sure, we talk about all the time in parent teacher conferences how we always want to start off with good news, right? We want to let them know. We want parents to know what their kids bring to our classroom. I want teachers to know what
Mhm.
they bring to our school. They
Mhm.
deserve to know what they bring. They
Yes.
deserve to know um, if they are the loudest complainer and you hear from them daily, you talk to them about consistency and how consistent they are in their approach. And
Mhm.
so you don't have to say you're driving me crazy
Right.
because they may well know that or
Right.
not. You can just say to them, one of the things that I admire about you is the consistency in your approach. I can always count on hearing from you when
Yes.
something may be going awry or there's a question and all of a sudden you've kind of helped ease the tension in the room by trying to build somebody up
Yes.
and just pointing out those good points. I'm not going to lie, I have had some of my best teachers sit across from me and cry,
Mhm.
and I won't say yell, but got really loud with me and said some things to me or about me in the moment that I thought, wow, this is really a hard thing for them to grasp. And that does not mean I backpedaled and said,
Mhm.
it's okay, you can stay." Because
Mhm.
I wouldn't have asked them to move in the first place if I didn't think it was going to be good for them and for the students.
Right.
And so sometimes it does take that processing. Sometimes it takes the teacher just having a friend or a
Mhm.
representative or somebody with them just to give them that extra boost of confidence or feel like somebody had their back. Um, if I think it could be a volatile conversation, I may very well have my AA come in and just simply take
Mhm.
notes and then
Mhm.
provide both of us a copy of the notes so
Mhm.
that we can be present in the conversation and go back over the notes later and look at it and see, a lot of times when things are emotional, we remember what we said
Right.
or what touched us. We don't remember everything. And so
Yes.
somebody else taking notes, somebody that's confidential, like your administrative assistant,
Mhm.
would be a great way to then provide copies of those notes to both parties just to kind of look at and at a time when you're a little less charged or a little less emotional. I also want to say, make
Mhm,
sure you're delegating responsibilities still, and I've talked about this, I think, every podcast. Know who your people are that can handle some of the things that you are not able to handle right now while you're
mhm,
trying to participate in this staffing. Let your teachers know that you trust their judgment and that they are actually in control of their classrooms. And so when it comes to discipline, just let them know to make sure to have a plan, because it's not always going to be that you're going to be able to send somebody to the
mhm,
office. Make sure that, things like making sure your parents have talked to the teacher first before they come storming in your office,
mhm,
because that can be time consuming. So all those things that are naturally time consuming for a building administrator, make sure that you've delegated some of those so that you can actually focus on the task at hand and have those good, meaningful conversations that aren't just a flash in the pan, and
mhm.
give time for teachers to ask you those questions.
So good. I'm sitting here thinking that this really is such a big part of this time of year, and I feel like it goes like this almost until the end, and sometimes we'll see well, anymore, we're seeing this until the beginning of the school year, and even school districts are hiring right now to finish out the school year. So it's really thoughtful to be thinking about all of these things and be planning and preparing. I really loved the tip, and I think you've done that really nicely the entire time talking with principals about the importance of delegating and having people take some of this off of your plate as a principal or administrator in your building. There's so many people that are vying for your time and your attention and your thinking and your energy that it's not possible. So being really strategic about the different responsibilities that are happening and making sure that you have other people that are able to take some of those responsibilities is super thoughtful. So thank you for the sharing that,
Mhm.
Bridget.
And doesn't that kind of just go right back into staffing? Even the people that you have already in place,
Mm,
knowing how to treat them, knowing how to build them up, knowing how
mhm,
to develop them so that when you need to do some delegating, you have some good, strong people. I think to myself, like, if I could delegate 5 things in a week, one each day, that's five
yes,
things. That's big.
that
And
is
so that's not even that that doesn't even include my AA who could have done 5 things an hour on her own, you know? And so,
right.
or your assistant principals, or just thinking about how you're actually building up that leadership capacity within your building. And so
Mhm,
you're really supporting the staff that you have
mhm,
and building them up to be those leaders, whether it be a leader of their grade level or a leader of a content area or just the leader of their classroom. Make them feel
yes,
more confident about what they're doing.
yes, yes. I'm hearing some that you have like a vision crafted of what your school is like and how it's run. And it's all of us being part of that vision and bringing it to life. And so thinking about that vision when you're hiring, when you're moving, like what do we want our school to look like? What's my dream as the leader for the students in this building? How can I be thoughtful and intentional with the people that I'm bringing into the building that support that vision, that support the learning that's happening in all of those areas? Because more than once I've heard you talk about the importance of your office staff and having them they're the first people that our new families see. They're the first introduction for our students. They're if
Think
you're a
about your
new community
custodial
member.
staff. Think about the
Yes,
custodial staff, and they really give families a first impression of what does the building look like? How is the building
yes,
cared for? And just partnering with them and making sure that they understand the vision, your vision for your school. I'm going to
Mhm.
share a quick story. I know we're running short on
Great.
time. But you talked about hiring during the school year, and I've had to do that before. But one time I had to do, after almost towards the middle of the first quarter, we had to hire a kindergarten teacher.
Mm,
And the applicant pool for kindergarten teachers at that point wasn't very big because that requires a different certification.
mhm,
And by then, most people had their jobs. And so I
mhm,
was a little bit nervous. And I had an applicant that I knew because she had worked in another capacity in our building, and I had seen her with children. And when we interviewed her, we knew that she would come in and build community in her kindergarten classroom and make the kids feel like that's always been their classroom and make the parents feel really confident about leaving their children and moving their children. So we offered
yes,
the option, we hired the teacher, we offered the option to our parents if they wanted to move their children or not, every kindergarten student, with the caveat that that doesn't mean if you say, no, I don't want my child moved, that they wouldn't be moved,
not
but we're
right.
just kind of looking to see who would be open to it. And do you know, because of this person's temperament and her caring attitude and the position that she had been in the school already, because enough parents knew her, I didn't have to move anybody that didn't want to be moved or that didn't
Mhm,
agree to be moved. And she didn't know the kindergarten curriculum, and she did not know the programs, and she didn't, there were so many things that she had to learn,
good to know. Yes.
but she knew how to love on kids, how to build community in her class. She knew how to make that her class
Mhm,
and how to include the parents and how to make the students feel special. And so, as somebody who did hire into the school year, I want to say to all of our administrators out there that are having to consider hiring into the school year, pick the person, don't pick the person that knows the program.
yes. I love that. That's a great way to end. I think it really aligns with our values at Compass PD that it's about relationships. We
Yes.
truly believe in building strong relationships with the people that we work with and most importantly with students. So how do we help build strong relationships with the kids that we serve? So thank you so much, Bridget, for this time. I really appreciate it. And I know that this is going to be especially helpful for administrators at this time of the year. I want to encourage you, Compass PD community, to take care and stay inspired. We are so grateful for you and all that you do to encourage us and support us, and wish you the very best day.